cleaning up a few portraits from my dad series that I have, and this is one of the images from that series. I'm not doing retouching necessarily, but there are some scenarios where some of the talent were wearing black or different color tones on their clothes, and you start to see situations like this where there's artifacts like lint and stuff. And instead of me trying to figure out how to retouch all of that stuff out, there's a few different techniques to get rid of it fairly quickly, and I thought that you all might benefit from just seeing one if you aren't familiar. So I'll just run through this really quickly. I'm just going to duplicate the layers so I have two of the exact same layers. Then I'll just go up to filters, go to noise, go to dust and scratches. So once I go to filter, dust and scratches, or filter, noise, dust and scratches, excuse me, I'll zoom into that area that I'm trying to deal with, right? So then you have the radius and then you have the threshold. The radius is basically going to get rid of the artifacts that I'm seeing, right? My computer's moving a little slow because I'm recording my screen, but let me give it a second. All right, this is crazy, 176. So let's choose a more reasonable number. So I'm going to say like 10 pixels. All right, so 10 pixels still seems a little too aggressive. So what I'm going to do is essentially I'm going to go up on my radius until I don't see the stuff on his pants. So I'm at 3. I'm starting to see it go away. 4, still seeing it go away. All right, skipped up to 7. It was like a big dot right here that I got rid of. Let's see if I go back to 6. Yeah, I see that, but I'm not tripping about it. But I'm going to go to 7 to be safe. Right. So then obviously everything still looks kind of crazy. Right. You can't see the texture of his pants. That's where threshold comes in. Then I'll slide the threshold up and give it a second to dial in. I'll go up a little bit more. I'm starting to see like this general white lint show up. But compared to what we were looking at, it's significantly different. I don't have a problem with seeing some of those kind of like smaller white pieces of lint. I feel like that's natural, more so than seeing all of the white dots. So what I'll do is I'll slide that threshold up a little bit more and see how reasonable it is as I go up. And I'll probably stop somewhere around there. Go back to 20. And from here to there. Actually, let's go down just a smidgen. All right, so that's where I'm at. So I'm at about 7 and 19. So I go from this to this without having to necessarily dig in on any individual area. Right. So obviously, when I use this technique, what ends up happening is it kind of softens everything. So his face gets softened. Right. It looks crazy, but we'll fix that in a second. So go ahead and click OK. Then you'll go down to your layer mask. You'll hold down Option and click on layer mask. It's going to fill the layer with black. So now that effect isn't showing up at all. But then, as you could imagine, all the lint is back. So then all I do is choose a paintbrush that's over here. I'll use the white swatch, make sure I'm at opacity 100, flow at 100, and make sure that the actual layer mask is selected. And then I can just paint. And when I paint, it'll get rid of those imperfections that I essentially was getting rid of before. Like I said, I'm not really tripping about having some of that more kind of black lint on there as much as I'm trying to get rid of the bigger artifacts that are more noticeable to me. And then if I needed to, I could still go back in here and retouch stuff out by using a clone stamp or a healing brush or something like that. But this is to try to get rid of the biggest, most noticeable areas that I was seeing. So then I'll just kind of slide through here real quickly. Even though I didn't look at Pops' clothes when I was doing this, I can still go in and use this technique to catch any little small things that I see on his clothing. And I'm using this technique specifically because I don't want to retouch this portrait series. I don't want it to feel like it's been retouched. I want it to just be clean. I want to get rid of any kind of noticeable distractions that I see in the outfit. But ultimately, I want it to be as close to the original state as possible. Kind of zooming back out. Hope that was helpful.